All right, it's Wednesday night. It's 7 o'clock. We're back to our original time after going out for 7:30 last week. Sweeping the league for another week. Back with the familiar faces, minus one Austin Hartsfield, who's going to be actually on vacation for a little
Must
bit. He's taking a little bit of hiatus here. What's up?
must be nice, Austin.
Right?
Yeah, Austin has some crazy thing. Like I don't know. He has like all these years of vacation still, so he's got like unlimited amount of time of vacation time. So he's decided he wants to take it now, which is no biggie to me. I mean, everyone deserves some vacation time. But Rudy Campos, Coach Gio, Trey Collis, sipping on Burger Boy, or not Burger Boy, but on Whataburger, which we're gonna go ahead and fine him for that because this is a Burger Boy sponsored show. So
I'm sorry. You're going to find
Wait,
it.
what are you eating?
I had
drinking a
my
Whataburger.
3-year-old daughter wanted Whataburger today. I can't deny that pretty little girl Whataburger. All
So
right?
you're blaming your daughter. Okay.
I don't
You
have
have to lay the smack down, man. You've got to put your foot down and make sure that you don't.
Well, you have to drive an hour out of my way to go and get Burger Boy, which I will, by the way, because it is very good. But at the same time,
You have
I
to
would've made it if I
make
could
that
not.
drive. You've got to make that drive. Hey, we'll be joined by Locked On Spurs own Jeff Garcia. I had to donate some more plasma to pay for him to come on, so definitely he'll be on tonight. Randall Brogue, it's Brogue, but I call him Bugs. Evening, what's up, Rudy? What's up, Randall? How you doing, buddy? He's the biggest Cincinnati Bengals fan that I know, and they're supposed to be good this year, so we're gonna check them out here on our NFL preview show, which is actually going to start next week. We'll be doing our NFL preview shows, both fantasy and reality preview shows. But like I said, later on today, 7:30 hour, the 7:30 segment, Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs will be joining us, talk some Spurs, throwing them into the ring of fire too. So we'll see how that goes. We got some doozy questions for him on that. But first, obviously the news, man. The NBA Finals concluded last night. Everybody in America seemed to have the Phoenix Suns winning the NBA Finals. I mean, it looked really good after a 2-0 start. And then what happened? I mean, is it the Chris Paul curse? Is it this? Is it that? We saw Giannis go from what Kendrick Perkins called him as Robin and Chris Middleton as Batman. They came along. Came back, competed. We saw the emergence a little bit of Bobby Portis as well. Drew Holiday decided to get his head out of his ass as well. So what was the whole take on the finals, guys? I loved the finals. It was great. I was hoping for game 7, but I didn't get it because Phoenix couldn't come up with the victory. But to me, it was one of the best finals that we've seen in a long time. Boog says Giannis said Bucks back and forth. He's right. What are we thinking, guys? I mean, what do y'all feel on the finals? Because for me, I loved it. I wanted another game.
Well, I mean, Scott Foster was a referee, so
here
that should have told
We're gonna
you.
go with the Scott
That
Foster.
should have told you what was going to happen at the end of that series.
Wow.
But congrats to the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, Giannis has been through a lot the past few seasons. I mean, they got knocked out early against Miami last year, and we were surprised that he came back with the Bucks. But power to him. I mean, he just had a Herculean performance, 50 points. I mean, just flat out killed the Suns. The Suns were also out-rebounded by, I mean, I don't know what the numbers were, but every game, Milwaukee just got those rebounds. And at the end of the day, rebounds was all about hustle. And it just seemed like the Bucks wanted more. After that game 3, I mean, Phoenix just lost their edge. They lost their pep in their step, as they say, and they just could never get it back. And that's because Giannis, I mean, he just balled out. I mean, 50 points in a game 6. I mean, this series alone, he came up to play. Now, I will say that if Kevin Durant's foot wasn't an inch longer,
here we go.
Jesus.
I think the Nets would have been the finals. But nonetheless, congrats to those Milwaukee Bucks.
Can you give
Congratulations
these guys?
to them. Congratulations to Scott Foster as well.
Oh,
More
geez.
power to the Bucks. They earned it. They took it from them. They're the NBA champions. Congratulations.
Oh, okay. So we're not just going to give them their props, right? You're just going to really screw over everything like that. You know,
Well, I
Scott
mean, listen.
Foster had.
He's 0-13 when Scott Foster referee. I mean, that's pretty insane, though, Rudy. I mean, I'm all for conspiracies, but that's one hell of a conspiracy.
I think Trey has a different take, Trey, right? You got a different take on this, right?
Oh my God. I'm so sick of this Scott Foster, Chris Paul. Oh my freaking God. Like, seriously, a referee. Scott Foster officiated an excellent game last night. In fact, he favored the Suns in most of those calls last night. Let's don't give it. I mean, he did a pretty decent job. It's not always Scott. Tony Brothers, he had it in for. I mean, let's just face the facts that the Milwaukee Bucks outpowered the fast and fearless Suns. I mean, basically, they just started playing bully ball. They started getting more physical with them. They got in their face. Drew Holiday on Chris Paul made a bigger impact because Chris Paul's only 6 foot, maybe 180 pounds soaking wet, maybe. And then you have Drew Holiday, who's 6'4", over 205 pounds, but just muscling them. It seemed like Booker, he got heated. Yeah, he got 40 points every other night, except for last night he was a no-show for whatever reason that was. I don't know if it's because of his nerves or what, but it seems like he was trying to do too much Kobe-ness, if that makes any sense. And I love Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's my favorite player. But he just seemed like he was just trying to take the game over instead of playing Phoenix Suns basketball, moving the ball around, driving to the paint, trying to make hard shots that weren't even there. But the Milwaukee Bucks, I give it up to Bud. I apologize to Bud. I didn't think he could make any adjustments. I didn't think that he could come back. And Gio's actually kind of right on this. If Kevin Durant was 1 inch foot shorter, Bud would have been for the Milwaukee Bucks.
You see, I told you.
So why are we going back? Why are we going back to the damn Nets?
I
was just throwing it out there.
I'm just throwing it out there that that's how close Bud was from being fired from Milwaukee Bucks. Let's just be straight up honest with ourselves.
Yeah, Rudy.
And now,
it was an inch.
He won a championship, and now he's going to be in Milwaukee forever. But Giannis took the game over. I don't know if he had really a hyperextended knee, but this guy scored 40, 28, 35 or whatever, over 30, and then 50 points in the closeout game. This guy is a stud. This guy is the new face of the NBA. This guy is going to be – he is the best player in the NBA right now. I'll argue that with anybody. I'm not saying he's the GOAT of all time. I'm just saying as of current NBA players, he is the GOAT. But the Phoenix Suns, Chris Paul, I don't know what he was doing. After game 2, he didn't want to shoot. He was missing point blank shots. He was driving to the paint, throwing it into double coverage. Wasn't looking like the same Chris Paul. He started looking really, really old to me. So I just think that the Milwaukee Bucks took their best shot with the Phoenix Suns and then came back home and Bud made the proper adjustments. And I think the Milwaukee Bucks won the series. Yeah, they got lucky with injuries with the Brooklyn Nets and everything. So did the Phoenix Suns. But that's part of the NBA playoffs nowadays. Everyone's injured, and they were the healthiest team going into it, and they survived. So congratulations to Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay. I mean, I get it. I don't know why y'all keep referencing the damn Nets series, but okay. Congrats to the Bucks.
I'm just pointing out a fact that Bud was fixing to get fired if Kevin.
It was 1 inch away, Rudy.
1 inch away from getting fired.
1 inch was very important in other areas. It was very important in this area.
Well, some women don't, some women prefer an inch smaller from what I've understood.
That's true.
Not where I was going, but all right.
Oh, really? So, yeah, you weren't going that way. I'm pretty sure you were. You did make mention of it. So, yeah, and you've got that smile on your face because, like I did say, you are wearing a San Antonio Spurs shirt because, like I said earlier, Locked On Spurs own Jeff Garcia is going to be joining us later on the 7:30 segment. He's going to be thrown into the Ring of Fire. If you saw last week's first edition of the Ring of Fire with James Pledger, wow, those questions are probably nothing compared to what some of the ones Jeff's getting tonight. I doubt Jeff will join us on camera because it's probably not good to see him blush, I think, and we'll definitely try to make him blush. But, yeah, Jeff Garcia will be with us on later on tonight. Real quick, guys, let me give you the Twitter tags. You can follow me at Sweep the League. Gio is at Coach Gio, double O at the end. Trey is at Trey3025. Austin is at Hartsfield MLB. Again, Austin is on vacation. He's got like 15,000 hours of vacation, so he wants to use as much as he can right now. So he'll be joining us here.
Do you know where he's at?
I think he is on the beach of Cancun. We're just going to say that. So he's chilling right now. He's relaxing. But you know who's not relaxing are the Green Bay Packer fans. They're not relaxing at all. Why? Because there is no discount. There's no double check. There's nothing for Aaron Rodgers, who came out and just basically said, I'm not signing my extension, which would have made him the highest paid quarterback in the league. Concerns for Packers that this means that Rodgers is gone. For me, it's 100% yes. Rodgers is gone. But there are some people out there that think he turned it down because he wants more money. Is it about the money with Rodgers? Because he has gigs after football. So is it really about the money?
No, it's not about the money. I mean, listen, Aaron Rodgers hasn't forgiven the Green Bay Packers when they drafted Jordan Love. I mean, they did not forgive him. He's still holding that grudge. And remember, Rudy,
the Brett Favre era ended the same way.
It was reported that when they hired Matt LaFleur, first of all, Aaron Rodgers was not aware. And second, it's reported that Mike Murphy went to the office and says, Aaron, don't be the problem. So there's a lot of back and forth here with Aaron Rodgers. He just doesn't like that staff. And to me, I think he would rather have them both fired, though Murphy won't be fired. Brian Gutekunst, I'm assuming, could be fired. But this is not headed in the right direction. There's too much. But listen, at this point, if they offer him another extension, that's worth what? 2 or 3 years, $200 million. I mean, something absurd. I mean, they own the rights to him. So, I mean, the Denver Broncos, I know they're sitting right there just hoping that the Packers trade him. But at this point, I just don't see Green Bay trading him away. I know Aaron wants to leave. We can agree on that. But are the Green Bay Packers willing to trade him? Because if they trade him, I'm sorry, the Packers are not a Super Bowl team. I think they're a very good team, but nowhere near a Super Bowl caliber team. So Aaron Rodgers just doesn't like it. He also sees what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are doing. They get Tom Brady every single thing he wants, he gets, right? Andy Dalton, when they drafted Fields, they called Andy Dalton and says, hey, we're going to draft a quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers is sitting there like, you're telling Andy Dalton that you're going to draft the quarterback and you couldn't even tell me nothing? It's a power struggle here. And Rudy, it's headed to divorce. We know that, but is it going to be this year or next year? I have literally no idea what the Packers are going to do.
There's a team that resides in Las Vegas that would probably give him whatever the hell he wanted. I mean, let's be honest. They could. I mean, they really could. Trey's looking at me like I'm crazy. Where the hell is Rodgers going, Trey? You seem to have this thing in your eye, your glee in your eye that just says you know where he's going. Where is he going?
He's going to his Malibu house in California with his fiance and is living on the couch and calling Jeopardy and hosting Jeopardy. That's exactly where he's going.
So he's going to retire. He's going to bury Sanders.
Yes, he's not going to show up to training. This is exactly what's going to happen. He's not going to show up to training camp. He's going to give a big FU to the freaking Packers and make them struggle and figure out what's going to go on and wait till the first preseason or maybe middle of preseason games. It's like, I'm retiring. And then they're stuck, right? So that'd be the biggest FU to the Packers. You're like, I'm tired of this because Aaron Rodgers wants to explore new things. Now, him going to Denver, I don't understand why he would go to the AFC West. It's not a foregone conclusion that he's going to make the playoffs with that Denver Broncos team or with the Las Vegas Raiders team. It is not a Super Bowl contending team, even with Aaron Rodgers on those teams. Let's just be straight up. With Patrick Mahomes in there, you're going to have to face him twice, maybe 3 times is in the playoffs. And then you have the Chargers who are, even though they lost Akers, that's a big blow for them. We might talk about that a little bit later, but losing Akers kind of hurts them a little bit. But I still have the Chargers moving up from what they did last year, and I think that they're on the rise, and I think they might get second place. Denver, they have no weapons besides Ridley. Is it Ridley? No, not really. Who's the other Alabama receiver out there?
Jerry Jeudy
out there. I mean, I just don't see him going to the AFC West. Now, a team I would love to see him go to is Miami Dolphins. That's where I would really love to see him go. It's warm weather.
Go to Miami though. That's kind of a toughie right there, because the one person that has ties to Miami that we always hear is Deshaun Watson.
And we don't even know what's going on.
We know what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. He's going to be suspended. He's going to maybe miss a year. He's going to. I mean, I don't think
he's not going to go. They're not going to send him to Houston unless. I mean, they could. No. They could just say we're going to send you to NFL hell and send you to Houston.
Exactly.
But then honestly, he's definitely going to retire.
Honestly, if I'm the Packers right now, I wouldn't cave into Aaron Rodgers. I would just like, all right, you want to be traded? Well, we're going to trade you a team that gives us the best package, and you're not going to pick your team. This ain't the NBA.
Houston has nothing though. Houston can't.
I'm not saying trade to Houston.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, outside of what?
If the Packers are smart,
they would trade him to Houston.
The Rams that was the Rams' first choice. The Rams actually offered the Packers a trade. Packers said no. Matthew Stafford was next in line. So
well,
it could have been the Rams.
Well, Gio, being the expert that you are, let me ask you this: was that too early of a trade offer? Should they have waited longer in the season before they made that to see what Aaron Rodgers was going to do?
Probably. I mean, I think the Rams probably offered pretty quickly, and the Packers said, "Nah, we're good." But I don't think they knew that Aaron was at the point they are right now, where Aaron's these cryptic tweets, and also he's been with Tom Brady on these podcasts and stuff like that. And Tom's been poking fun at him on these podcasts. It's just not going to end well. And I just don't know what to do. I just don't see the Packers trading him because they're right there on the cusp of potentially getting to a Super Bowl. So,
but they've been on the cusp for how many years? I mean, it seems like every year the Packers are like in the NFC champ, like 6 years NFC championship game, and Aaron Rodgers is 1-5 or 1-4 in those series. So,
yeah, I mean, Aaron hasn't won in a while, so
and everyone's like he has no help. But at the same time, they score. But at the same time, if you look at the against Tampa Bay, he could have ran it. I don't care if he had to kick the field goal. He thought he had one more down, but if he could have ran it, probably got it closer to the yard line and made him go for it instead of kick the field goal there. He also, when Tom Brady threw those 3 interceptions, he also went 3 and out those last every time they got the ball over. So Aaron Rodgers has a lot to blame on himself. It wasn't just him. He was making bad throws, and he choked a little bit too. So I'm just saying he's not the same caliber player as he was back about 5, 6, 7 years ago. I just don't think he's the same.
I mean, 2 years ago when he lost to San Francisco, the 49ers ran for like 300. I mean, it was just embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, the Packers had no defense on that, and then I don't blame Aaron Rodgers on that one per se that much because his defense didn't help him out at all in that situation. They didn't have a run defense to stop him anyway. So, but I think Aaron Rodgers is retiring. That's just me.
So, who in the hell are we going to blame for Texas and OU invading Gio's college?
Great move, baby.
Why are you trying to join us? Leave us alone.
I'm not trying to join anybody. I am happy in the ACC.
Listen,
I am perfectly happy.
I'm happy with who we got in here. Texas and Oklahoma. Leave us alone. Stay with your no defense Big 12 over there.
Is that the stench of vagina that I hear from you? Because are you scared of Texas and OU?
Yeah, I think that's
we don't need Texas and OU. We got sorry at listen. Missouri came here. They shouldn't have never come. And you mentioned Vanderbilt. I mean, Vanderbilt's been here for a long time. But listen, I don't think we need any new teams. 2 teams? I mean, that would greatly.
I mean, that is legitimately the power conference if you get a Texas and Oklahoma.
That's what I'm saying. We don't need to create some type of juggernaut conference.
Well, you know what, Gio? That's where it's going with this new this name, image, and likeness thing. It's exactly where it's going. If you look at Nick Saban, he hasn't even named a starting quarterback. And what's his name? Bryce Owen? Whatever his name is. Yeah. They're in 7-figure deals. And Texas is going to have to compete with the SEC in that. And I think this is where it's going. I think you're going to have power conferences, and these little conferences aren't going to be longer anymore. And the Big 12 is.
Hey, Texas, go to the Big 10 or go to the Big.
Well, here's the thing. SEC. Texas is a prominent name. It's a big time name. So if you're Texas, you're losing your talent to the SEC. A&M, you're losing it to Bama, LSU. So
that's not our fault.
Why not join the SEC? That way you have that same tag on you. You're going to get the talent back if you're going into the SEC. People know they're going to get more exposure playing in the SEC conference than they will in the Big 12? Even the Big 10. The Big 10 has come back down to earth. It's not this great old conference that it once was. The big conference everybody wants to join is the SEC. I mean, hands down it is.
When was the Big 10 great? I think they've been overrated forever.
I just don't think that. Listen, you take 2 away from the Big 12. Then what does the Big 12 have? I mean, it's just a bunch of
the Big 12,
a bunch of Jags, right? It's just a bunch of teams.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly what it's going to go down to. Because if you remember the Big East in the basketball, they were the power conference of the NCAA. And then you got these power and everyone moving. Now the Big East is like these little market teams with don't have any chance except for Georgetown, but you don't know anybody else, UConn, but they're not big market teams. So that's where the Big 12 is actually coming down to, because they can't have any teams join their conference. So you're going to see Texas, OU go to the SEC. I think it's going to happen within the next year and a half. I think that's actually going to happen. And then you're going to have the likes of TCU, Texas Tech, go to the Pac-12. and there's going to be another major conference. So you're just going to have these 3 big major conferences and then expanded of the playoff. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be great for football. I really do.
So where does Notre Dame go?
Notre Dame's not going anywhere. Notre Dame's going to stay non-conference.
Wait,
So
aren't
they stay independent.
No,
Notre Dame.
no, they're in the ACC now, Rudy.
Well, no, that's basketball.
Basketball and baseball, but in football, they're
non-conference. They're still independent in football.
Yeah.
But, okay, so with the landscape of college football changing ways now, that brings up the question of Notre Dame. I mean, can they afford to stay independent?
As long as
now that money's being thrown around,
I think as long as they
conference matters.
I think honestly, because they joined the ACC last year just for the COVID reason, right? And they're playing. It helped them out a little bit, but I think it's here as long as they keep the scale, like they play half their games against Big Ten and then half their. I think it will help because you're getting that, and plus Notre Dame, remember, has that NBC marketing schedule, and they're going to get exposure anyway in NBC networks.
They need
so
to be
I think that being a non-conference is going to help.
They need to be in the conference. This whole independent.
But it's Notre Dame, dude. They're not going to.
And then they get shellacked in some playoff game every year. You know what I'm saying? It's like they get shellacked every time they play some big game. Yeah. I mean, they need to get to a. I'm not sure. I'm assuming the Big Ten would be ideal, but also the ACC. But just
they might join. I think they'll join the ACC because basketball is already in the ACC, so they would have to join the ACC.
Well,
which would be great for the ACC because all they have that's all they have is Clemson.
I don't know how that all works out, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't like the independent crap that we see from Notre Dame. I don't like that because it also screws with the whole college football playoff system. Considering it's expanding already here in a couple of years, you mean to tell me Notre Dame just has to win 6 games or whatever to get into the playoffs? To me, that's always been total bullshit. So I think they need to get rid of the whole independent thing altogether for Notre Dame. They should be able. They should fight for a position and not schedule. I mean, they don't really schedule cupcake games all the time, but it's like they need to be in a conference to make it legit. They need to be a conference.
Yeah, but can they beat Clemson? I mean, can they beat some of these? They have failed the past few years to really. I mean, they've gotten some hot streaks and they've won games, but when it matters the most, Notre Dame just doesn't show up.
Well, you saw it last year, right? They beat Clemson last year without Trevor Lawrence. Barely beat Clemson in overtime without Trevor. And then Trevor Lawrence comes back and they got annihilated. And they got annihilated in the first round of the playoffs, just like they did every year they made the playoffs. But they need to. If they do join, they need to join the ACC just because the ACC needs more than Clemson. Clemson's
they could put them in the ACC Coastal with Duke, Miami, North Carolina, and
funny about that.
Virginia Tech.
About North Carolina.
Anyway, you know what? Go Dogs, man. We coming this year.
Dude.
Well, okay, so you get a Texas and an OU in the SEC.
Exactly.
I mean, do the Dogs still rank up there?
Well, it depends on where they put Texas and OU. Are they going to put them in the Mighty West where you have Alabama, LSU?
No, they're going to put them in. They're going to put them in the East because I feel like the West has way too many top teams. The East has some good teams, but I feel like with Texas A&M now back, kind of, and LSU's there, Alabama, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. I think if they're in the West, Tennessee's garbage. I think they would put them with us in Florida in the SEC East. But I mean, listen, if Texas OU comes, I'm sure it'll be great for the league. I mean, it's going to bring a ton of money and more exposure for those two teams because I feel like Texas and Oklahoma gets really good players, but I mean, listen, Alabama's just they're just the cream of the crop, man.
Well, it is, and I think that's a bonus and a benefit of going to the SEC for teams like Texas and for OU. I mean, OU's been one of the better teams in year in and year out. Yeah, let's not be real. I mean,
but do you think if OU's in the SEC, are they going to be winning like they did in the Big 12?
No.
Because that's
a hard question for me to answer because I can see them having success. Now, not right away. It's going to take the recruiting, but if you give a team like Texas and OU the opportunity to recruit, being that they're in the SEC now, I think you're going to see a little bit of a changing of the guard here. I mean, you're going to see more teams being able to compete.
I think because if you look at Missouri hasn't really caught on yet. Texas A&M, they've had some pretty good streaks with Cortland Sutton. I mean, what was that coach they had?
Someone.
Someone played really well, and then now with this other bimbo head that's there, gets on my nerves too. Jimbo Fisher. So
Bimbo? Did you say Bimbo Fisher?
He's annoying.
He is annoying.
But I think it would be great for them. I mean, listen, all jokes aside, I think it would be more competition for the SEC and just that much harder, and we can win out when you have some tough teams on the schedule. I mean, it's good. Georgia's playing Clemson. We're playing Clemson the first week, so
I guess it's safe to say you're going to start 0-1 on the season.
Yeah, we can talk about that when it's game week. We're some minutes.
What are we? We're what, 7 weeks away?
I think this, and I know I say it every year, but I think this could be the year that Georgia's talent finally,
many years, man,
gets it done.
No.
I think this could be the year.
They cannot.
Kirby Smart always ruins it one game a year.
There's no way they get through Bama. There's no way.
They could have got through Bama a couple years ago, but then a fourth and third and forever in the championship. And that's it's a call.
Tua screwed us, and then we lose the SEC championship game because Tua or Jalen Hurts gets hurt, and then he comes back again, and then it's like, bro, we haven't beaten Alabama since 2008. And I was in high school, so it's not a very good feeling. And then when we played them in the SEC championship game, we're up. Then Mark Richt, super nice guy, the other guy, we just collapse all the time with Mark Richt or Kirby Smart. We just can't seem to get over that hump against that damn team. I mean, we've beaten Les Miles. Well, speaking of Les Miles, he's not looking too good right now, but it's a tough stretch, man. It really does suck to lose to Bama all the time.
It does, and I think they're going to lose to Bama again this year.
I'm glad I don't live in the South anymore because all I see is Roll Tide.
Oh my god.
Okay, so we I guess okay. So I talked about the Notre Dame thing, Texas A&M, or Texas and OU going in. Bama's a team. If you get a power conference like that going in the SEC. Is it safe to say how many teams now when they expand the playoffs? How many teams are we expecting to come out of the SEC? Say if Texas and OU goes there.
So if there's 8 slots, are we looking by 8 probably?
Probably 8.
I could see 4.
Trey's thinking 4. I'm actually thinking more.
I could see 4 or 5.
Depending
on the year. I mean, but I could see 4 or 5.
Well, because you're going to have Clemson in there probably. That's one, and then. Is this with OU and Texas in the SEC, or is it still Big 12 like how it is right now? Oh no,
this is OU and Texas in the SEC.
Well, you'll have Ohio State in there. You'll have probably Notre Dame if everything goes right, which I don't know why, and maybe 4 or 5.
I could see 4 teams because you're going to get Bama in there for the most part, right? Okay. And then you're going to get, Georgia's always on that cusp. That could be a team that might not make it every single year. LSU, they're going to regroup. Florida's one of those teams too. I know they've kind of slipped, but they're a team to reckon with. I could definitely see 4 or 5 depending on the year. The problem is they all kind of play each other, right? So if you get 2 losses, I mean, you can still make it, obviously, but they all kind of beat each other up.
Right, but that's going to be the biggest games of the year, though, because the Pac-12 is a joke. Let's just be straight up honest with ourselves.
Well, what's not a joke is our guest who's joining us here. It's Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs. Jeff, how you doing, buddy?
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you?
Yes, we can hear you very clear, man.
I'm jerry-rigging something together. So hopefully this will work. Again, sorry for the quality, but this is the best it's going to get, guys.
No, you're good. You're absolutely fine, man. Thank you for joining us. I love the hat, the Central Catholic hat.
Yeah. Thanks. Buddy.
Representing our alma mater there.
Only Rudy knows what that hat is. I have no idea.
High school, man. Central Catholic High School, the greatest high school in the world, man. Come on, you should know that.
The greatest.
You should know that for sure. Hey, Jeff. Again, thanks for joining us. You can follow Jeff. Let me get you a Twitter up here. It's at Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter. All the Spurs talk that you need to know about. Everything Spurs, everything Spurs. Also, everything anime. Marvel, DC.
Yeah, pop culture.
It's all about Jeff, and everybody follows Jeff for that reason. Jeff, Gio wants to know if you approve of his San Antonio Spurs shirt because he went out and bought it just for you. No.
It's not, I've had this for several years. It's my long sleeve San Antonio Spurs.
That looks cozy. That looks really cozy there, Gio. Can we just jump right to the Dolly Parton talk? Because I really want to talk about that.
Yes, I do. Before we get into Spurs talk, I wanted to bring up the Dolly Parton talk. Jeff actually messaged me about that whole Dolly Parton video in the Playboy bunny outfit. My mouth dropped, and she's 75, right? Is that what she said?
Yeah, she's 75.
75 years old.
Unreal.
Every day of the week, twice on Sunday. I would probably best to say it that way.
I would have to marvel at first. I would have to just really suck it in, just really absorb every single second.
I soaked enough of that video in. I think I'm good right now, and I'm kind of like, I'm going to Dolly World sometime soon. Let's put it that way. No, man, that's an incredible video for her to be like that.
I hope when I'm 75 that I look just something as close to the shape as that, man. That's just ridiculous.
Dude, she's done plastic. She's done plastic surgery the right way.
Like Gio's gonna pass that up. You're gonna pass that up at 75?
No, I'm just saying she's done. I did comment on the photo. No, she looks great. I mean, for 75, that's
no one's gonna pass that up. No one's passing that up.
Don't lie.
Passing it up,
don't lie, Gio.
Complete liar.
I didn't say I'm passing it up. I said never said I was passing it up. Never said it.
Hey man, so we're gonna let the guys ask you a couple of Spurs questions real quick. Yeah. After that, got the Ring of Fire. We got some questions in there for you. If you saw pledges last week,
I did.
It can get pretty brutal, man. So
we have the weigh-in soon. So
we got to weigh in. One of the questions deals with pledge. We've got that little feud going now with you and pledge, and I'm gonna go ahead and call a Thriller and pay-per-view and all these and see if we can get this fight going. But
you realize at the end of the day, it's just gonna be us playing online Street Fighter, fighting against each other. That's all it's really gonna be. So.
Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, whatever. He said he's a minus 300 against you. We need to get that comment for sure. But let me let these guys ask you a quick question on the Spurs. Whichever you guys want to go first, bud.
So, Jeff, what is it gonna take for the Spurs to have another banner? A championship banner. What is it going to take?
That's a great question. We addressed that on tomorrow's Locked On Spurs, so be looking out for that. Basically, it's going to take a lot of patience, some cojones on the front office part to move some of these guys, or the guts to tank. It's got to be something like that. It's got to be something like that. You look at how their big three was made. It was built through the draft. Robinson set the tone. Then you got the number one pick, Tim Duncan. Then you get lucky to build around him with two Hall of Fame bound guys, Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, and the rest is history. So it's either they tank, get a top 5 pick, and hopefully they get a generational player, or they start wheeling and dealing and flipping on draft night, trade deadline day. It takes a lot of that stuff. I'm predicting maybe about a decade, and I'm going easy on that.
Whoa.
I'm going easy on that.
Well, I've told Rudy, if you're gonna suck, you got to be the suckiest you can be.
They're in the worst spot right now. They're in the worst spot right now. Of all the spots, look where they're at. They're about a 500 team. So they got to swing for the fences, and that's overpaying for free agents this offseason or future. Or dangling out there, DeJounte, Derek White, Devin Vassell, really making bold moves for the right players. I hope one of these guys pans out and becomes a perennial all-star, but even being a perennial all-star is not going to be good enough. I mean, they can look at Milwaukee, see how they were built, but again, you need to have that guy. You need to have that megastar. Spurs, as of right now, do not have that.
Well, let me take it.
I think a decade is probably right on par from what you're saying. I mean, that's
right.
It's not going to be another, Milwaukee Bucks thing. I don't think they're going to have to wait 50
I mean,
years.
look at Phoenix. Look at Phoenix. They had to get the
Phoenix
number
hasn't
one
even
pick, Ayton. Then they had to get Devin Booker. Rudy, you're better at this than I am. Was Booker a top 10 pick or was he a top 15 pick?
It's 14.
I think it's 14. Yeah.
Okay.
Top
All right.
15.
So, there's hope there. Maybe the Spurs can get themselves a guy at that caliber. They got number 12 in a few days. But even then, it's going to take a process. I really believe that if they don't make any big news, big waves this offseason, draft day, what have you, you're probably going to see a mirror image of what we saw last season. Maybe just 2, 3, 4, or 5 more wins on top of that. That's about it. So because these guys are going to start gelling more so next season. But Jakob, as much as I love him, man, but he's not it in the middle. It needs to be more out of him. He needs something on the offensive end. Look at the top quality centers in this league. Jokic does it on both ends. Unless he's going to be Rudy Gobert style and just really, be that defensive monster, which he can be, but that's not going to happen. And look at the depth after that. It's Drew Eubanks and Lucas Almanich at your bigs right now. That's your depth right now. So, and that just gives you an idea of how much they need to put together a team, and whether they in the draft for need or draft best available, they gotta do something. They're on the clock, gentlemen. Brian Wright, R.C. Buford, the rest of those guys behind the scenes, they're on the clock. You got yourself a 12 pick. You got yourself a really good young core. You're gonna get younger with the number 12 pick, and if DeMar comes back, great. Here's a guy who could put buckets. If he leaves, fine. You got a lot of money to go spend. So they're on the clock now. So, and that's just, I'm thinking a decade just for them to be considered title contenders. In this decade, they're going to be playoff. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to have their string of playoff games. They're going to go. Good Lord, Rudy, could we see a little bit of the 90s Spurs? Great regular season, short playoff runs. And I think you're probably going to see that for a while. That's going to happen.
Like first round, second round bounces, man.
Yeah.
You may get a conference final in there, but it's not going to be anything like a title run or anything.
Yeah. And look, even when they had Robinson, and I get it, different era, different rules, different NBA in the 90s. But Robinson alone couldn't carry the team. They had to wait till they got Duncan. And then they had something. But the point of it is there. They got themselves a transgenerational player, a megastar to build around. And look how they got it. They tanked. Rudy, Robinson could have played that season. He could have played.
Yeah.
And they didn't play him. And look what happened. They got themselves TD, and the rest is history, guys.
It is. And, the word tank is so like, it sounds terrible. It sounds horrible. People are like, we don't want to tank. And teams don't want to be associated with tanking. Well, at least teams that
the Dolphins
don't want to be associated with tanking. But tanking's not a bad thing.
Rudy, here's this too. And I'm being generous on the decade side. I'm being like optimistic because there's something else on the horizon that's really going to extend their title drought or shorten it. And it's not has to do with players, it has to do with the coach. Pop is going to leave soon. He's going to leave soon. And whether they stay in the family or bring somebody outside the family, that person is going to have to do their own thing. That's a big shadow they're going to be following, big footsteps. So there's going to be that period of time where they're going to have to adjust. Who knows? What if whoever they bring in doesn't pan out and they're going to fire that guy or girl? We don't know. So it's going to be a while, Spurs fans. Buckle up.
Yeah, that's true. We're with Jeff Garcia at Jeff G Spurs Zone. He's joining us here from Locked On Spurs. Great coverage, absolute best Spurs coverage around. Go follow him to get all your Spurs, fix and all your Marvel stuff. Which I'm going to get into Marvel talk. Trey, you got something for Jeff here before we throw him into the ring of fire, and hopefully he leaves his camera on so we can see him blushing here.
Couple of questions. We saw Keldon Johnson at the Olympics. We got last game against Spain. Do you see that? Can they build around him? He looks like he could be a stud. He could be the star of the San Antonio Spurs in decades to come. And also, following that, what do you think would be the perfect offseason for this? Because you have a lot of money. You have, I think, a lot of money. So what is a perfect offseason that you can see for the Spurs this season?
Can they build around Keldon? As of right now, no, they can't. No, he's a good player. We forget he just finished his sophomore season. He just finished it. He plays like he's been there, done that already. But he's going to have to really expand his game. We know he's a bull. We know he can attack that rim. We know he's energy. We know he can get the guys hyped. But until he knocks down a consistent shot, midi or long, that's the next plateau. But even then, we don't know if Keldon is the type to shoulder an entire team to the promised land. So until that day happens, we have to see. That's the thing, Trey. This team is so in the gray zone right now. We don't know what's going to happen, and Keldon is going to be a big piece of that. But as of right now, no. I think you just bring in more pieces to see what clicks, and hopefully one of these guys, whether it be Keldon or who knows, Devin could probably do it, or DeJounte takes some more steps further in his career, as we saw last season. If they're going to make a long playoff run, it's going to be by the collective. As of right now, there's not that one team that can do it. And what was your other question, Trey? I forgot it. I'm sorry.
What would you see as your perfect offseason for the Spurs?
Swing for the fences, man. If you're going to go for John Collins, go for it. Overpay him. What do you got to lose? What do you got to lose? You got nothing to lose other than just a gain. If he says, sign me up, Spurs, great. You got a lot of money, you can afford him, and you're bringing in a piece that can really help this team. He's not a max player, though. He's not a max contract player. He's less than a max, but he'll get a hefty payday. If he says, no, you still got all this money, and nobody's saying, Trey, they have to spend the money this offseason. Nobody's saying they have to. They could just sit on that and really be major players for years, for another season if they wanted to in the offseason. But perfect offseason, I think drafting smart, first of all, in that few days, draft smart, whether it be a big Kai Jones, whether it be, one of the guards out there, or the Johnson kid, just draft smart. Another good offseason is, think about Lonnie's future. I think you need to start thinking about that now. Rudy, do they have a team option or a player option? I think it's a team option.
It's a qualifying option.
It's a qualifying. Okay, it's basically the team. Yeah. So they're gonna have to do that and really see what's gonna happen with him. If they don't feel invested in him and they don't think he's going to take that next step for them, flip him. I mean, why not flip him? He's young, he's promising. See what you got to do with him. So there's a part of me that really feels that the Spurs need to just steady the ship right now. Just steady the ship, because we need to see where DeMar's going. We need to see where Pop is going. And if Pop tells internally, hey, I'm going to stick around for another season. All right, fine. If it's Becky, then, get her primed. If they're going to really go outside the family or do something really, 180 on everybody and not do Becky, then bring that, or at least get that guy going, that girl going, whoever it is. We're going to see this transition period, not just what we saw last season. This is going to extend for a few seasons because, as we mentioned, the next domino to fall has to be Popovich.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that's the domino that you and I have talked about that could possibly fall right after the Olympics. I mean, we saw a different side of Pop, so it could happen. Jeff, we've got about 10 minutes left with you here. We got to get into this Ring of Fire. One question is actually in regards to Pledger. Pledger actually wanted me to ask you the same question we asked him as well. So that's another one. But first and foremost, we got to get into the first question here. James Pledger last week said that if Vegas was betting and giving them odds, he would be a minus 300, which is a guaranteed win over
pretty much.
Jeff Garcia in a fight. Would you like to make a statement towards Pledger? Because I would love to pass it on to him.
Yeah, I get it. Pledger and I are almost close in age, but I'm a little older than him. So I'm going to say don't count out the old dog. Just don't count out the old dog.
For sure. For sure, man. I would say this. Yeah, you're right. Don't cut out the old dog. And that message is to Pledger. I'm going to go ahead and go to ESPN SA and staple it to his window and say, don't you count out Jeff Garcia at all. So go ahead.
But no. That was funny. He and I have been having a running joke about it. I go on his show And usually when I leave, I go like, "I'll see you at the weigh-in," or I'll see you at the next press conference. So he starts having a kick out of that. And no, as I told you, man. Rudy, he has the X-Men Iceman Gambit build. So if you're looking at the stats, I'm more Colossus. So
and that's what we're gonna go with. We're going with the Colossus Iceman.
I'm more Colossus. So it's gonna be strength versus, I guess, how would you say? I guess swiftness. I just gotta catch him. He's too little for me. Yeah,
I think so. And the whole thing with Pledge is the fact that I asked him. I said, are you doing all these workout videos because he's doing an OnlyFans? And I never got the answer out from him. So we're hoping. That was actually a question that one of our listeners asked. Can you ask Pledge if he's going to do an OnlyFans?
Yeah, it's probably his OnlyFans name is probably coconut oil. That's probably his.
That's perfect. Hey, Pledge.
His photos when he's working out, he glistens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, it's
videos.
sweat."
Probably Photoshop.
Oh, there's that too. Yeah, the filters.
The filters, Rudy.
Yeah.
Hey, Pledge wanted me to ask you the same question we asked him last week. So, in the old game of marry, kill, and whatever, have sex, we don't want to cuss too much, and you're allowed to cuss if you want, Jeff. This is your moment here.
Okay.
So, in our game of be with, which is marry, kill, or bang, he had the option of Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. Yeah. So he wanted to pledge the same question to you.
Oh, the same one.
If you had to marry one, if you had to kill one, if you had to sleep with one, which ones would it be?
Marry Iron Man. Dude's loaded.
Exactly.
Well, what was it? It was Thor. Who's the other one?
Thor and Captain America. America's ass, basically.
America's ass. Oh, that's right. America's ass. So we got to marry, bang, and then kill. I'll kill Thor. Yeah, killing Thor. Yeah, too much of a pretty boy. That's way.
So you're lying in bed with America's ass, and what's funny was Pledger decided to kill America's ass, and he said he had no problem taking Mjolnir up in certain areas, so he was definitely on Thor.
Rodgers can carry the hammer now, so it's all good.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah,
exactly, man. Hey, next question. You walk into a doctor's office. You have 3 procedures done. Which one is the worst to the least, basically?
So
you've got to get a body adjustment from the Hulk. You've got to get laser eye surgery from Cyclops, or you get a colonoscopy from Wolverine. Which one would be your worst one for you?
Okay, so body adjustment Hulk. You say eye exam Cyclops?
A laser eye surgery from Cyclops, or you get a colonoscopy from Wolverine.
Oh, I'll go Wolvie worst. Second worst would be probably Hulk and then Cyclops.
Yeah, I would think Cyclops would know what to do with those lasers in his eyes. So.
Doesn't his visor adjust the beam, or it's just one big shot? Is it just one?
I think it's adjustable.
I think it's adjustable. Now, if I'm thinking about, I think it is adjustable actually.
For sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to picture some of the cartoons, but also some of his. I think you can.
So this is going to be a cool one because I like this, and then we've got actually a listener question that we got that. I actually got like 10 people ask me this question for you. So we're saving the best for last. Good. You are Batman, Jeff. You live in Gotham. So you are Batman. Yeah.
Bruce
so as Batman, you have the chance to be in a threesome. One of them is a DC woman. The other one's a Marvel woman. Which 2 women is Jeff Batman Garcia going to the Batcave with?
Can I dip in both worlds, or just has to be from one world?
Well, yeah, you got to get one DC and one Marvel.
Oh, one DC, one Marvel. Okay.
Yeah, one DC, one Marvel.
Okay. Oh, wow. So let me start off with DC. I'm gonna go Poison Ivy.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what the animators did, but if you've seen the movie Hush, oh my goodness.
Yes, I have.
Jesus.
Yeah.
They put a lot of love in drawing her. Marvel's tough. That's the tough one because there's so many ones. But I'm gonna go with gotta go with the witch. I gotta go with Wanda.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I think
Not the
Gio's a little
Amazon?
surprised by that.
I thought maybe the Amazon. She's pretty tall and she has nice legs, but
Look at that. Look at Gio.
Why
This
would-
is your segment or my segment? He's all drifty now.
Gio-
See that? He's all.
Gio
I
likes
just wanted to-
Amazonian type women, I'm thinking. So we're gonna
Yes.
just let him. We're gonna let him diff that. We got a few minutes left. This is the.
What about did Widow get any votes, or did anybody vote for Widow?
I would. I'll take Widow. I mean,
Take Widow?
if you're gonna place Widow and AKA Scarlett Johansson in that Black Widow outfit in front of me,
The
With
best
Dolly
version of
Parton
her
all
was
over again.
Civil War. That was the best version of her.
yeah, it's Dolly Parton all over again. Is what it is. I mean, that definitely for me. Last but not least, Jeff, I got 10 listeners that begged me to ask you this question.
All right, go
So
ahead.
I have a feeling we're going to get a few 4-letter words here. We've got about 6 minutes here. Why do you hate the new Star Wars trilogy so much?
Oh no, Rudy, don't do that.
I know. I was asked. I was begged to ask.
who asked you that, Rudy?
I'll
I
definitely
don't
name
know where to
names
begin.
later.
I mean, how do I even start? 6 minutes is not going to be enough, Rudy. But
I know.
it's not. It's just. I mean, my heart just sank right now. I mean, it's just painful. All right, I'll just try to nutshell it then. Why do I hate it so much? Well, it's disjointed. There's no flow. There's no, I guess, for lack of a word, community involvement. When you have the original trilogy, the 70s, 80s, all three of the big three were in it together. And they felt like a team going through this process, this journey. This one felt all over the place. You had Finn, who was, in my opinion, a useless character. I think what could have saved it is they killed him off in the second act. I think when he was driving into that big walker foot or whatever, the laser beam, that could have been, that's okay. They took a bold step. They killed off a main character, but they didn't. He became useless. I mean, from the recycle job that to this day, Trey, I don't know why people defend TFA as if it's all that. What is it? It's the same thing from A New Hope. It's exactly a carbon copy of A New Hope. You got Ren. I mean, Rudy, when you go down the list of the greatest Sith, he's dead last, and I'm cringy at putting him on the list either. Just whiny and pouting, and what was his drive? Just to avenge his grandfather? I need something more. If you really, and then of course, the debacle that was the second act when Skywalker finally came in heavy. And then there's that they butchered the what out of Skywalker. He goes from Obi-Wan, who tells everybody and tells Anakin, protect your saber, man. This is what we're about. Respect it. Obi-Wan telling his father, Luke, this is like the best thing you can have right here. Respect the what out of it. Then you have him just tossing it over his head. That doesn't make sense. It's just trash. It's just I still have not seen the last one. I refuse to see it.
I refuse
to see it.
I don't think
I
haven't
don't
seen it either.
want to do it. And then I mean again, I'm just touching the iceberg here. I mean, Rose, what purpose does she serve? You got the slowest space chase in history in Star Wars. I mean, what was it called? The Second Empire. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking out right now. The First Order. They had the capability, fully functional ships to go overtake the escaping pods, the ships where Leia's in, and they just got, now we're going to cruise it. We're just going to follow. They could have just, shifted to second gear and just catch up to them and waste them. They didn't even do that.
I hear you.
It's just so, I mean, and I haven't said anything, but I'm kind of getting sour on Bad Batch too. I don't know what the hell is going on with Bad Batch.
I have yet to see it.
I haven't seen that.
Okay. Gio is just basically Mandalorian all over again. It's instead of a Mando taking care of a kid, it's just 5 guys taking care of kids. Oh, and guess what? Just like Mando having to go down this road and say, oh, these people need help and they're going to give me money and we save the day. It's the exact same thing. There's nothing. I haven't seen anything different. It's just Mando. And they're just taking care of a little girl. That's the only thing. So I think Disney got too involved in all this mess. Disney got too involved.
I thought that Rogue One was probably a pretty decent movie. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty
decent. Well, yeah, it was a masterpiece. I thought that thing just was so awesome. I mean, you know, I think I've told you this, and I'll tell your audience this too. There was a little documentary on Rogue One, and in that, I wish I could still find it. I want to see it again, but on the making of it, and they asked the director, "Hey, what did you want to do in Rogue One?" He goes, "I don't mind honoring the OGs, but if you don't want to rely heavily on it, you got to make it your own." And I think that's where the new Week trilogy came out from, because they just relied too heavily on what was already done. You know, it made me appreciate the prequels. It made me appreciate them more, because at least they gave us some sort of continuity, some sort of flow.
And they also gave us Jar Jar Binks, which is terrible.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
But and Liam Neeson.
But they gave us
Liam Neeson.
They gave us Maul. They gave us, as far as films are concerned, just the films, the best saber battle ever, Maul versus Qui and Obi-Wan. They took a little bit of a risk for letting Obi-Wan tap into his dark side in order to smoke. Well, I guess try to smoke Maul until he got in the lucky shot. I mean, until Rogue One came around, it did have the best space battle. I mean, Gio, Rogue One space battle? Tell me you were not at the edge of your seat when you saw them coming in.
No, it's the best Star Wars that I've seen in the past several years.
I'm really hoping KOTOR does something for us, man.
Yeah, and I mean, the best thing about Rogue One, Jyn Erso, man. Good God. That's enough for the ticket right there, just to watch Jyn Erso on film. But
I don't know, Trey. Can you handle a feisty woman like that? Think about it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Didn't it have Donnie Yang in that movie, right?
Yeah, it had Ip Man. Yeah. Yep, Ip Man was on
it.
He was on it, and just great. It gave us something different. We never saw a droid in a gun shootout. We finally got that. We got that.
So I think what we're gonna do, Jeff.
Yeah, see, you got me on a tangent now. See.
Yeah, no, we're almost ready to go here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy a copy of Rogue One and I'm gonna send it to you. I want you to autograph it, because it is the greatest Star Wars movie of all time, and we're just gonna give it to a listener. You can have a Jeff Garcia autograph.
And that is a very, very big hot take, because I say Rogue One eclipsed Empire by a hair. I mean, it's close, and I get it. Look, Empire is near and dear to my heart, but what Rogue One did, I don't think people really appreciate what it did to give us newness, and that's what we want. Rudy, you and I are old, man. We've seen it. We've been there. We've done that. We know what these space operas can do. Give us something new, and Rogue One did that. So, I mean, they even gave a tip of the cap to the Star Wars Rebels animated film in it. They brought in you couldn't see it, but you can hear them mention Hera Syndulla to go to her ship. You see the ghost in the battle. I mean, geez, I'm getting chills right now. I gotta go watch Rogue One, guys. I gotta go.
We're all gonna go watch Rogue One now. Yeah. Hey, man, we're at the end of the show here. Jeff, thanks for joining us, man. For sure.
No problem.
Always
Sorry
fun.
for all
I'm
this.
glad
This is
you
all
got
makeshift
to.
Right now. This is all makeshift.
Yeah, I'm glad you got to clap back at Pleasure. We'll be sure to make sure that he gets.
How much did Rudy pay you to come on?
Oh no, I did it for free, man. I did it for free.
I don't tell him, because I had to sell blood.
He told me he paid a lot of money for you. So
I had to pay him.
Want to explain, Rudy?
He comes on Locked On Spurs, and he comes on Rudy will come on at a moment's notice. That's cool about it. I said, "Yo, you want to jump on the lows?" He's like, "Yeah, let's do it." So I owed him. I'm giving him.
I try, man. Hey, Jeff, I really appreciate you coming on to Sweep the League. For everybody else out there that's watching, Jeff Garcia, go follow him at Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter. Great Spurs content, everything Marvel, DC. Basically, him and I are nerds like everybody else on there. So
can I tee something on your show real fast?
Sure, go for it.
Just keep an eye on my Twitter next week if you're Spurs fans.
There you go.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh, what a
Follow
team.
him. Follow him at Jeff G Spurs Zone. He's teasing it now. He's teasing it. Maybe he's gonna kick Pledger's ass next week on Twitter. So
Ooh.
follow it. Definitely
No.
follow.
Yeah.
For Trey Collis, for Coach Gio, for our special guest Jeff Garcia, I'm Rudy Campos Jr. We swept the league again on Wednesday night. We'll see you guys again next week. Y'all have a nice one.